if the name didn't give it away, this is a deck that is at least based upon the first place winner of Meta Weekly 75, and it was a Dragon Link deck playing a couple of new Bystial cards. Now, it just basically, I kept on hearing whispers of like Dragon Link having like the highest win rate in Master Duel and like how it's constantly topping tournaments, and then I saw that in the Meta Weekly 75, the final was Dragon Link versus Dragon Link. I'm like, well, obviously there's something more here than what I'm seeing. So I decided to pick it up, and I see it. Holy crap, this version of the deck is so much better than what I was playing in the past. What I was playing in the past was that super rigid, combo-oriented garbage that I hated because it felt like a single interruption killed you. It felt like if your end board wasn't even that impressive. This deck doesn't even feel like it operates on the premise of an end board. It plays so fluidly through interruptions. The Bystials help shut down so many decks and strategies. It just moves and grooves through interruption like it's nobody's business. It just works. And I can't tell you why. It just doesn't care about what you're against. Now, of course, most of the replays you're going to be seeing were me using the winner's deck card for card. I did modify it towards the last couple of replays because I was starting to see a few inconsistencies. I was starting to see, like, you know, a couple of cards maybe we didn't like that. The other Rocket, the Rocket Caliber, not a fan of that card. Things like that I just thought were getting in the deck's way. So I sort of shifted it, took a couple of cards out, put a couple of cards in the form of quick launch, and I feel like this is working maybe even better than the original version. But again, man's won the Meta Weekly with it in a mirror match, so like I'm not in a position to tell him, oh, this is a better version of your deck. That's not my place. All I'm saying is this is a version of it that I switched to and had a little bit more fun, a little bit more consistency with, but it's basically identical to his list. So anyways, we're going to do a deck profile at the end, talk about the cards one for one. For those who don't understand, my nose is absolutely killing me for some reason. It always is when I'm trying to record. But if you're interested in that or anything else, we got a few replays, we got a deck profile at the end of the video. Stick around for that and subscribe if you are new, or maybe you're not new and you just haven't done it. You know, I think what, 2/3 of people haven't subscribed when they're watching. So if you're watching, I'd appreciate it. It only takes a second and it's free. And liking the video also does the same thing, as long as you enjoy what you're watching. And last bit I will say is that anyone who has the means and the desire wants to help out a little bit more in growing our channel that much faster, memberships are open and it is greatly appreciated. We had members joining recently during streams. We had a couple members already, I believe. Currently at the time of recording we're up to 4, which is great, right? And I really appreciate all 4 of the people who have done it so far, but hopefully we can start bumping that number up. The more members we get, the more tools YouTube gives me to play with so that I can help give those people additional perks and benefits, and the more we can help interact and build that into an actual thing. But anyways, I'm not going to sit and ramble here at the beginning of this video. We'll go through the gameplays, do the deck profile at the end. Let's get into it. Alrighty, getting into our first game here. We're going second, and we're playing second against Kashtira. Now, they're going to start with the Fenrir. We're going to go max the into the Fenrir. They are going to grab a Raise Heart here. Raise Heart summoning itself, normal summoning, banishing the Unicorn to banish 3 off the deck. They're going to go Secret Sword of the 7 here, banishing another card to draw a 2. Now they're going to Exceed Summon into Shangri-La to pass. You know, they only give us the +1, but that +1 was the exact card we needed. The Infinite Impermanence here, going to use the Imperm, shutting down the Shangri-La, which is amazing, right? The whole point of this replay, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, is to show the deck playing through not having been interrupted, just sort of showing it go all out for a bit. We're going to go Fenrir here, Chaos Space, dropping the Tracer, going to grab the Wyver Burster from the deck. Again, that's a hell of a trade, so it is. That Tracer is broken and we're still trading it in. We're going to go Striker Dragon off the Wyver Burster activating Chain Link 1 with Striker Chain Link 2. We're going to search for the Boot Sector Launch here as part of Chain Link 2. Then we're going to search for the Black Dragon Collapsable as Chain Link 1. Now we're going to go for the Collapsable, summoning it out using Chaos Space to shuffle back the Wyver Burster that we just banished to draw 1. Now we're going to go into the Romulus with the Black Dragon and the Striker Dragon, triggering Romulus, triggering the Black Dragon. Again, chain links do matter. It's how you protect yourself from the likes of Ash Blossom here. The White Dragon search is significantly less important than the Dragon Ravine search, so we order them accordingly. We're going to go Ravine here. Ravine dropping the White Dragon to drop the Absol Rider from deck to grave. Absol Rider then activating the grab Tracer from the deck. I actually think we misplaced slightly here. Or no, I was thinking back, at this stage I was thinking back to the start of the turn where we could have used Absolutor to grab something else, and then still had, by dropping the Seifert, and then still had like Tracer in hand, plus whatever we searched for to summon a 2 off a boot sector. Small misplay perhaps, but ultimately it's not as if it matters, right? Because we get to summon the Recharger anyway, bringing out the Pisty, using these 2 to go into the Triple Burst Dragon. Triple Burst then, and this is an indication, don't summon your Fenrir here. It becomes a real problem whenever you're trying to like chain link stuff, or link arrow stuff. Becomes a problem, don't do it. It worked out for us though. Now we're able to use these ones all to go into the Boral and Dragon. Boral and Dragon going to target and negate the Tracer, bringing back the Recharger. Recharger and Tracer going into the Chaos Ruler. We go into the Chaos Ruler because we're hoping to hit a Bystial monster. And digging through the top of our deck, there we are. We hit the Mignomit, which is arguably the best Bystial monster we could have hit. We're going to use its effect, banishing the Collapsibant, summoning it out to the field, activating its effect. So we grab a Dragon at the end of the turn. Now we normal summon the Seifert, and we go into the Chaos Angel. That's why we wanted a Bystial, because we can normal the Seifert and go into this guy. And because we used the light attribute Seifert and the dark attribute Mignomit, that means that our board is protected from battle destruction, and our Synchro monsters are unaffected by his activated effects. Chaos Angel, banishing the Shangri-La. Now we're going to go battle phase, swing for 3k, swing for 3k, swing for 35. Easy, easy, lethal. And there you go, that's just an example of some of the combos and crazy plays that the deck has access to. It is honestly ridiculous, the things that this deck can do. But yeah, pretty cool showcase. Now let's show the deck going through a little bit of an eruption. Alrighty, getting into game 2 here. This is going to be a slightly longer one. Again, I can't remember the order in which I saved these. We are playing against Tearlaments though. Tearlaments being a bit of a problem. Normally a Bystial is sometimes enough to shut them down. However, whenever they've got as much gas as this person has, it's not quite that simple. They're going to go Foolish Burial here, sending a Gito. They've just milled 10 cards from the top of each player's deck to the graveyard. They're going to go Rhinoheart now. Rhinoheart summoning itself, dropping Sulliek to the grave. Rhinoheart going to mill a card from the deck to the graveyard. Sulliek going to search to their deck for 1 as well. So they're in a position where they can basically guaranteed resolve at least 1 Tearlament effect. Going to send the Havness. We're going to go Drissfern to banish the Havness. They're going to utilize their Mudora to protect the Havness by shuffling it back into the deck alongside the Kelbeck and the Agito. I'm assuming to recycle those for future turns. Shuffling all of those back. He still doesn't get the Fusion Summon, but we do keep our Drissworm. They're going to go Merly. Merly mill 3. They're going to head on off a Kelbeck, but they've already used it this turn. Gloomy coming out. Gloomy then going to grab the Mignomit from our graveyard, which is a real pain because he's playing Bystials, meaning he can grab one using our Mignomit, which is very unfortunate. They're going to bring back Diviner off of Elf, Diviner pitching Keldo, and then they get to grab a Drissworm during the end phase as well. So this is, of course, a slight problem because they have Merly in the grave. We do misplay here, which really bugs me. We go Lobelion, that's fine. Lobelion's going to get hit with Keldo, which is fine. We go Drissworm here, and like an idiot, we target Merly. And at that exact moment in time, I don't know if I was trying to target this Shyrim, but I forgot that the Sprite Elf would literally just target the Merly to bring it back before my Drissworm would resolve. So very unfortunate. We end up still hitting the Merly with the Culp at the grave, so he still doesn't get to resolve it, so it's not that big a deal. But it was definitely a small misplay on my part. Cannot be mitigated, should not be ignored. I just wanted to point that out. So they are going to shuffle back our Lubellion. We're still going to get to grab a Saronir, so it's not as if we're losing out too much. We're still going to summon out the Collapsibant, chaining Maxi, which is very unfortunate. We are going to chain to the Maxi our Saronir. He's going to stop us from summoning Saronir by bringing out the Drissworm. That's a bit of a problem, of course. The Drissworm is annoying, but given that we already have two Bystials in hand, I'm not overly worried about not playing through Maxi. I feel like we can pretty comfortably pass. We're going to grab Tracer off of Absolutor, go into the battle phase. We're going to take out as much of his resources as we can, just using our dragons. And then we're just going to pass. We're not going to give him any draws. We're going to sit on these 2 plus our 2 Bystials, and we're going to be pretty comfortable. Straight into the battle phase, wiping out the Black Dragon. That's fine. Tracer then going to pop the field spell, summoning out the Recharger from the deck. Not sure if that was worth it, but it's something that we did nonetheless, so I don't know, sue me. They're going to go Magnomet, targeting our Tracer. We're going to banish the Tracer to summon out our Drissworm so that he doesn't get to summon his Magnomet. And we're now in a pretty solid place here. We draw for turn, we draw on the Branded Beast, which isn't the best draw in the world, but we're going to make it work here by going into the Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel protects our monsters from battle destruction, as well as banishing the the Drissworm on summon, while our Drissworm gets rid of our Magnomet, setting it back to our graveyard. So we can dodge the Drissworm's effect. We're going to bring out our Saronir. Saronir then going to allow us to banish our White Dragon, which will shuffle back. He goes for Magnomet now, which I thought was pretty interesting. I don't think that was particularly smart, but it's fine. We draw in another Saronir. This is actually, in this duel, we were playing 3 copies of Saronir, like the original list. It had 3 Saronir. I since knocked it down to 2 because we kept doing this exactly, but we kept having multiple copies of it. But that's fine. Again, this is a slow burner. We can play a slow burner. That's the thing about this version of Dragon Link, is that we're so tough and versatile that we can play it slow, and just like that, they can't keep up. And that was a pretty solid duel against Tearlaments. The Bystials give you a pretty good leg up against Tearlaments, and Tearlaments are definitely still the best deck in the game, most would say. Although apparently, Dragon Link's giving them a run for their money. This deck is amazing right now, and it feels good, especially into tier. Now, the Kashtira cards coming out does weaken Dragon Link a little bit, because the Bystial cards are not quite as powerful, but they're not at full power right now, so we're probably not going to be seeing Kashtira in the upper echelons of gameplay for very long, until their full sort of support comes out. So for now, we're going to enjoy Dragon Link. Anyways, let's get into game 3. Alrighty, getting into game 3 here. Pretty interesting hand opening up here. We are going second, of course. We don't have a great time winning coin tosses, but Dragon Link has that versatility. We can play through going second. They are going to go Grandmaster here. Grandmaster going to search for 1 while their Moyi draws 1, effectively chain blocking. We decide to Saronir here for no reason. I actually think this was a huge misplay in hindsight. I can't remember why exactly. I feel like the game is about to remind me why that was a huge misplay. Yeah, that's why. So, in my own head, I was thinking to myself, the only way in which this is a bad play is if he has tactics in hand. And look at the bastard, he just happened to have it. Motherfucker. He chooses to draw 2, which, you know, makes sense. What's he going to do with our Saronir? Gonna grab a Taya to the hand off of their Emergence, so they must already have Protos. So they're going to use Strategist here, going to summon itself, and a token, going to go into Baron de Fleur, triggering the Strategist, 1200 points of damage, going to pop the Saronir. Saronir then going to get Millen. We're going to send a Lubellion to the graveyard. Drissworm going to banish that Lubellion to summon itself out. Now they're going to go for Summit. Summit going to bring out the Taya. What the actual shit is going on right now? They're going to go Taya, banish Summit, summon out a token. Now they're going to use these 2 for a Berserker summon. Taya then going to mill a card to the grave, going to send the Blackout, and just like that, this is looking rough. They got that banish, they got that negate, they got that negate, they got the Drissworm as well. It's not looking good for your boy, but we're going to try and make it work. We're going to start with Regained, then going into the Lubellion. Lubellion then sending itself to the grave, getting hit by an Ash Blossom. An Ash Blossom on top of all of this other interruption is just outright insulting. We're going to start with then the Wyvern Burster, triggering off our Regain to try and draw an additional card, but that's going to start his Baron de Fleur, and this sort of giving us an idea, like, okay, this guy's awful eager to press the trigger. Let's see how much we can press that advantage. We're going to go Striker Dragon, activating Striker Chain Link 1. We're going to go the Wyvern Burster Chain Link 2. That's going to be met with a Grandmaster negating the Striker Dragon. Like, okay, he's eating up these interruptions like it's nobody's business. This is pretty interesting. Let's see if we can't keep that trend going. We're going to start with the the Collapse Weapon here, going into Romulus. Romulus activating its effect, eating the banish from the Draco, and suddenly it doesn't have any interruptions left. Romulus going to grab ourselves a Ravine. The only question is, yeah, he doesn't have any interruptions, but do we have the gas we need to make this turn work? Let's see. We're going to start with Ravine. Ravine's going to activate. We're going to drop the Veiler. No choice. We have to. We're going to drop the Absol Router. Absol Router gets searching for the Recharger. This was a terrible play. And this one play sort of screws us, but we do manage to play through it a little bit, to where we should have kept Recharger in deck to summon off of Tracer's effect. That was so dumb. We should not have done that. We're going to use this to summon out the Caliber, and this is exactly what I was talking about before, with the Caliber being really annoying. We can luckily tribute to Caliber to summon out the Recharger, so it ends up not having too great an impact on the board anyway. It works out the exact same, so not too worried about it, but it could have been a lot worse. Check in the top 6, we're going to grab a Magnomet from the cards among them. We're going to tribute off that Chaos Ruler to bring out the Bystial Lubellion. Bystial Lubellion going to activate Branded Beast from the deck directly. Banish 2, going to bring back the Chaos Ruler. That is perfect. Chaos Ruler into the battle phase, taking out the Grand Master. That's going to give us some sort of advantage here. We're going to banish that Grand Master to bring out Magnomet. Magnomet gets searching before taking out the Drissworm. Drissworm then getting rid of our Chaos Ruler. So main phase 2, end phase, we get to search our deck for a dragon, as well as resetting Branded Regained from our graveyard back to the field. So we grab the Drissworm, which we're immediately going to summon out to the field. I can't remember why, but I expected that to trigger Branded Regained, and it didn't. And I don't know why it didn't. So if one of y'all could tell me why, and maybe it's because we activated it earlier in the turn, actually. Maybe that's probably it. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm a dumb, stupid idiot. That's possible. We're going to tribute off our Drissworm to pop a card. In response to him targeting, of course, our monster. Drissworm then getting rid of his on the floor as well. But that does open up the board for a Vishuda. Vishuda then going to allow us to resummon Magnomet. And suddenly, it looks like we're taking back some level of advantage here. They're going to go for Protos, though. Protos is a massive pain for us because he is going to be able to shut down any dark summons. Vishuda then banishing itself from the graveyard to return Lubellion back to hand. And without the ability to summon dark monsters, this suddenly becomes very difficult. So we need to modify how we're going to play this, and this is the card, Protos, that continuously and consistently give us the most trouble. This is the single card that gave us the most hassle out of the entirety of the ranked ladder. This is the one card that we struggle to get past every single time. So we maybe need to think about ways to get past this card. Either way, gonna grab a Baldric from the deck here. I actually, again, misplaced slightly. We're going to go for Drissworm. Actually, no. This still we do it fine. Shuffle a card back, get drawing the Seifert. Seifert's fine. We're going to use this card now. I'm going to bring it out. Now, unironically, bringing out the Chaos Angel would be a fantastic thing, but it's very difficult for us to do. They're going to bounce Drissworm back to hand and then pop the Baldric. That, again, disrupts our strategy massively because we wanted to use the Drissworm to get rid of Protos. But now that it's back in our hand, we can't do that. We only have 6,800 life points remaining. Our opponent, though, is going to play a little bit timidly with that Arch Nemesis Protos. We're going to use the Veiler on the Shaman. That's going to prevent a massive amount of advantage being generated here, which suits me perfectly. It really does help shut them down quite heavily. Battle phase, 1,600 to the face. Again, we have to sort of hold that, which is unfortunate. But until we can find a way to get rid of that Protos, we're just going to continue to struggle. We're going to normal summon the Seifert, use the Seifert, take out the Shaman. So now we're just looking a Protos dead in the eyes. What have you got for me, Chief? What have you got to say to yourself? Into the main phase, they're going to normal summon the Taya. We're going to use Regain, bringing back Magnomet. We're going to chain then the Drissworm, targeting Vishuda in the graveyard. Going to banish the Vishuda before it can become a problem. Just like before, we're predicting him to target Dark. We're going to use Magnomet, get searching during the end phase. Regain, going to shuffle back to Vishuda to draw one again. Just putting ourselves in a position where we're trying to get as much advantage out of the turn as we possibly can. They're going to go Taya, banishing the Blackout, bringing out 2 Sword Soul tokens off of the Blackout. Going to go for the Shizao. Shizao going to search their deck for a card, while Taya sends a card from the deck to the graveyard. Now remember, they still have a token on the field, a non-effect monster, sending an Ashuna to the grave. Grabbing a Strategist. Now they're going to use the Ashuna in the grave, banishing it to summon out another Tenyu from deck. We're going Shifana. Shifana into the Boxy here. Boxy are going to target the Drissworm, send it back into the deck. They refuse to destroy my Drissworm. They're going to target Boxy, destroy itself, bring it to Mo Yi. Mo Yi going to reveal Strategist, summon another token, but I think he forgot that he had himself locked into Worms. I don't think he had another monster to summon. I guess the only other option would have been a Dragate, probably, is the only card he had left to summon. But he unfortunately wasn't able to do so. But either way, by calling Dark, he ends up 728, and he has exactly enough attack points to finish the game. 17 from Mo Yi for lethal damage. Protoss is a goddamn nightmare. There's a reason that card is banned in the TCG. That shit is disgusting, and it cooked us, and it consistently cooks us. Sword Soul is definitely the deck that gave us the most trouble in our claims, so it's definitely a deck you probably want to look at answers for whenever you're building this deck for yourself. But anyway, let's get into the next game. Alright, our fourth and final game here. We are starting off. We're going to start with Branded Regain, normal summon the Seifert. Seifert then going to pitch a Seifert to, normally we would search our deck for a Chaos Twin, but unfortunately that's not going to be happening this time. So we're left in a position where we don't have an awful lot to do. We are going to use our Jerusalem, sending our Seifert, returning the banished Seifert back into the deck to draw one. We are going to tag our Seifert out into Striker here. Striker then getting impermed, unfortunately. So 2 hand traps already. We did manage to draw into an Ash Blossom of our own here, and I don't believe we go super... Oh, we do actually go into Romulus here. My mistake. We're going to go Romulus, grabbing the Ravine. Now, we do, of course, have the... We're going to use Ravine. We actually dropped the Ash Blossom to send Absol Rider, and I feel like we were just getting a little bit cocky here. I forgot we'd already used our normal summon but by playing a light and a dark into the graveyard, we can summon out the Chaos Emperor, and then we can use the Chaos Emperor to bring out the Hieratic Seal. So that was generally the idea. Again, not super great for us, but it is what it is. They're going to go for the Traptrix Field Spell, Trap Trip Garden. And now they're going to normal summon the Mantis. Remember, they get an additional normal summon this turn. Our Branded Regained is going to bring out our Jerusalem back from the grave, which is definitely something, not small. We have the Seal in play. They're going to go for the Myrmelio. Myrmelio are going to grab them the Trap card. They're now going to link someone off into Traptrix Sarah. Now they're going to activate the Traptrix Hole. They're going to drop Bottomless Trap Hole in order to use its effect. We're going to chain to that the Hieratic Seal. That's what we were waiting on. We knew he was going to be doing that, so we wanted to wait so we can get rid of the Sarah at the optimal time. Otherwise, he would have just turned his Myrmelio into Sarah again, and we would have been no further along. But by timing it perfectly and hitting that card exactly as he was activating his trap card, it means he gets neither of his effects, and while he still has the ability to play the game a little bit, he definitely reaps very little benefit from it. He does go Sarah here in order to set a Trap Hole card directly from the deck, setting up the Floodgate Trap Hole, and then Alomarus also coming out to the field, detaching 2 to bring back a plant from the grave. Then Myrmelio is going to pop our Branded Regained, which is a little unfortunate. That card generates a lot of advantage. Kalaria then coming out, going to destroy our Magnomet, End phase comes, we're going to grab the Bystial Lubellion. Kalaria comes out, we're going to grab Myrmelio from the graveyard again, using it to pop our Ravine, which kills our follow-up. Very, very good play from our Traptrix player here. They played against that interruption quite well. Now we draw the Max C when the plays are already over. Go figure. Going to grab Saronir from the deck. Saronir summoning out, going to banish the Striker Dragon, summoning out the Rocket Tracer so we can go in the Baron de Fleur. Again, we're looking at our opponent. We know that this is a much slower game against our opponent here. We knew, of course, they were going to use Floodgate Trap Hole as well, so we summoned out the Negate. They're going to use the Holucia, or whatever it's called, to special summon back the Sir. We're going to chain to that the Maximum C, so that we can at least replace that card. I don't think our opponent's going to be in much of a position to generate a lot of extra deck resources next turn, because we are finna beat thine ass. That is the goal here. Jerusalem, we're going to pitch a card to the grave. We're going to Baron de Fleur, pop the field spell to stop him from generating resource. We're going to summon out the Lubellion by tributing off our Saronir. Now Saronir going to mill a card. We're going to mill the other Lubellion. Using Lubellion, we play Branded Beast face up. We're going to go Boot Sector launch using it. We're going to summon the Tracer from the graveyard. Tracer then popping the Boot Sector launch to bring out the Recharger. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You just come back from nothing and you start cooking these guys. We're going to go Battle Phase, swinging into the Sarah, taking it out. Baron de Fleur, of course, is going to be taking out the Alomarus, whereas Bystial Lubellion takes out the other monster. I know I said that in the wrong order, but sue me. In their opponent's draw phase, they have 1 card. We have an Omni Negate. We're going to bring back Magnomet in order to search our deck again during the end of this turn, and our opponent has decided, you know what, we can't be out-resourced. Unfortunate play for our opponent there. Again, Traptrix pretty damn solid, but they just weren't able to pull it out against Dragonlink. Of course, Dragonlink is the better deck, don't get me wrong. It is a tier 2 strategy, and Traptrix is tier 3 at best, and it's sort of on and off the tier 3 list. But still, shows off the deck against another type of opponent, shows off that incredible follow-through and ability to push through boards. Excellent game overall. So this is the deck. Now, again, I'm not the one who came up with the original list. I have modified it slightly, but the original list, of course, comes from the Master Duel Meta website. I'm not going to be some sort of self-proclaimed Dragon Link expert. I'm not. I know how to play the deck, and I played around with it a decent bit, but I'm definitely not an expert. But this deck in particular, this version of Dragon Link, feels a lot more versatile and feels a lot stronger than a lot of the other versions that I have played in the past. So honestly, I'm a lot more comfortable with this, and I'm actually probably going to be playing Dragon Link a lot more because of this list. Really, really like this list. Abso-freaking-lutely. So what exactly does it consist of? Well, it plays an abnormally large amount of hand traps, which is a great start. We got the double Veiler, the double Imperm, and then apart from those, we have our standard anti-maxi package, triple maxi, triple ash, double call by a single crossout. Perfect. And then you also have your Bystials, which all act as pseudo hand traps. So that is a total of what, 11 plus 5, 16 hand traps or interruptions for your opponent's turn, which is pretty damn awesome. And that's not even counting the ones you will actually set up. So 16 hand traps per se. Good stuff. So let's talk about the cards individually. The deck in terms of like engine, if you really wanted to split it up into different engines, you would talk about rockets, you would talk about Bystials, and you would talk about chaos. That's the easiest way to split it up. So let's talk about it like that. So in terms of rockets, we're playing a relatively small but contained rocket package. We're playing double tracer, single recharger, single Absol Rider. We're playing boot sector launch. We're playing triple quick launch, and then I'm also going to count Dragon Ravine in here as well. So, Rocket Tracer gives you the ability to target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon a rocket monster from your deck except itself, but you're locked in the dark for that turn. So basically, it just summons out Recharger. You can, of course, if you want to expand? What the hell was that? If you want to expand upon the versatility of this card, you can, of course, play additional rocket monsters in your deck. You can play another level 4. You can play the Caliber, which is a level 4 tuner. The original deck list was playing this card. I just hated drawing this card with a passion, so I took it out, and I didn't really have any problems with this other than whenever I messed things up. So I feel like this is fine, but if you wanted to for your own sort of like, you know, state of mind, you can play an additional rocket if you want, but I definitely wouldn't play any more than one additional rocket. It just gets very clunky then at that point. We've got the Absol Rider, which when sent to the graveyard will search your deck for a rocket and add it to hand. We have Boot Sector Launch, which will either special summon 2 rockets with different names from your hand, or if your opponent has more monsters than you, you can special summon rockets with different names from your graveyard up to the difference. So it'll either be ideally 2 from hand, 1 or 2 from hand, or 1 or 2 from grave. There you go, pretty straightforward. Dragon Ravine, discard a card to drop a dragon from deck to graveyard. You're going to be dropping your Absol Rider dragon almost every single time, unless you already have it there. Absol Rider, of course, just to search for a rocket. And lastly then, we have Quick Launch. Quick Launch will special summon any rocket directly from the deck, but it gets destroyed during the end phase. Incredible card. Was not being played in the original list, which I find extremely interesting. But getting quicker access to your Rocket Tracer without using up your normal summon is great, because sometimes the Tracer and the Seifert were competing for the normal summon, and I didn't like that. So Quick Launch acts to further reduce that competition for the normal summon. That's the rockets. Let's talk about Bystials. We're playing double Saronir, single Magnomet, single Drissworm, single Baldrake, and double Lebellion alongside Regained and Beast. This is a fairly standard Bystial package. So the 4 main Bystials, these 4, the Darks, will special summon themselves to the field by banishing a lighter Dark from either player's graveyard as a quick effect, so long as your opponent controls a monster. Perfect for countering Tearlaments, because you can banish their monsters from the grave upon activating their effects, which is freaking brutal, right? It does disrupt a lot of strategies, as well as offering you a lot of the chances at extending. They are all level 6, which allows you to use them for level 10 synchro fodder alongside your Tracer into the likes of Baron de Fleur, or more interestingly, alongside your Seifert to go into the Chaos Angel with both of its active effects, which is absolutely incredible. So their levels are definitely very relevant. And then we have the boss of the Bystials, the Bystial Lubellion, which can discard itself to add any of the other ones to the hand. You can also tribute a level 6 or higher Dark Dragon, like a Bystial or a Chaos Ruler, to summon this card from your hand or graveyard, and you can activate its effect to play a branded continuous card from your deck face up directly to the field. So you can just play the likes of your branded beast straight to the field, which is insane. Then you've got Branded Regained, a couple of effects. Number one, if a lighter dark monster is banished, target one of them, shuffle it back into the deck, and then draw one, even if it's not your card. It can be your opponent's card. It also has the effect where if your opponent summons a monster, you get to bring back a Bystial from the grave. That effect is incredible. Being able to constantly loop back your Magnomet and your Drissworm off of Regained is insane. And you can constantly loop back your Regained because of Branded Beast. During the end phase, this card allows you to place a branded continuous card face up into your spell and trap card zone, which is incredible. Its primary effect, though, is while you control a Bystial, you can tribute any dragon to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. That is a once per turn effect, which is insane. Again, it's just additional poppage. You can activate it straight from the deck off of Lubellion. It recycles back Regained. It's just a great card. So that's the Bystial package. Again, not that complicated. Pretty straightforward stuff. The Chaos package is sort of the glue that melds them together. We have the Chaos Twin. So we'll talk first about the starters. We got Chaos Space and the Star Liege Seifert. Star Liege Seifert allows you to send a dragon from your hand or field to the graveyard, or multiple dragons, to add one dragon from your deck to your hand, whose level equals the total level of all the monsters you got rid of. So you can drop a level 4, like itself, to grab a level 4. You can drop a level 8 to grab a level 8. You can drop 2 level 4s to grab an 8. You know, you get it. You can do maths. Seifert can also banish itself from the graveyard to target a level 8 lighter dark dragon in the grave and add it back to hand. And decent way to recycle the likes of Lubellion, although it's more commonly used alongside your Chaos Ruler or your Borreload Savage Dragon in order to recycle your negates in longer games. Seifert is amazing. Definitely the better normal summon for the deck. This card is pretty nuts. It being a light attribute monster is super handy because it allows you to get the full benefit out of the Chaos Angel. But yeah, pretty great card overall. We've got Chaos Space then, which helps sort of kind of do the same thing. You can drop a light or a dark monster from your hand to your graveyard to add a light or dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set from your deck whose levels is between 4 and 8. That sounds like a restrictive list, but basically you're grabbing either one of your Chaos Twins or one of your level 8s, your Lubellion or your Chaos Emperor. And basically, once you drop an attribute, you search for the other attribute. So if you drop a light, you're searching a dark, right? Makes sense. It can also banish itself from the graveyard to shuffle back a later dark monster that can't be normal summoned or set back into the deck, and you draw one. Good stuff. So basically just gives you an extra +1 off the back of your Chaos Summons, which is excellent. Now, what are the monsters you're searching for? Well, you've got the Chaos Twins. The Chaos Twins are pretty straightforward. You summon one by banishing a monster from the graveyard of the opposing attribute. So for light, you banish dark. For dark, you banish light. And then when one is sent to the graveyard, it searches for the other. So when White Dragon goes to the grave, you grab Black Dragon. So on and so forth. They're all level 4s, which is supremely useful. They generate advantage. They're free special summons. What's not to love? We've got the Chaos Emperor, which is basically a bigger version of it. This card's very interesting. I always feel like I'm underutilizing this card most of the time. So its pendulum effect is decent, where while it's in the pendulum zone, you pay 1,000 life points, target a banished dragon, destroy this, and then add that card to your hand. Now, the reason that's good is because this card can special summon itself from the hand or extra deck after having been destroyed, potentially by its own effect, by banishing a lighter dark monster from your graveyard, but it does get sent back into the deck when it leaves the field, essentially. So it helps you recycle a card back to your hand from their banish pile, and then can special summon itself from the extra deck, which is pretty crazy. Now, its effect on field, as far as I'm aware, is pretty lackluster. Once per turn, you can pay half your life points, send as many cards you control as possible to the grave. And if you do send cards your opponent controls to the grave up to that number of cards, then inflict 300 damage per card. It's pretty mid. It's primarily here as a big extender, as a dark search target off a Chaos Space, as a level 8 monster. It's got a lot of useful things about it. The least useful thing about it is definitely its effect. Its effect is decent though. I can see this being useful in certain situations. It just never, ever, 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 ever came up. So I wouldn't go out of your way for it, but it is interesting to say the least. And that pretty much covers the entire deck as far as I can see. Yeah, that covers the whole main deck. It's really not that complicated. Sorry, and then we got the two Kashtira Fenrir, which are basically just hand traps actually. So you can do whatever you want there. So that's 13 hand trap slots. But we were playing Kashtira Fenrir, so you know, it is what it is. So let me put the deck back together so we can see the full thing again. Bang, 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 bang. So this is the deck we were playing. Pretty great stuff. Into the extra deck, let's try to blast through this here. We have Borreload Savage Dragon, Omni Negate, basically, easily summoned. We got the Chaos Ruler, which on summon will send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard, but you get to add a light or dark among them to your hand. It's a great tool for searching your deck for Bystials, as well as filling up your graveyard with useful materials. The likes of Seifert makes the milling even more beneficial because you can usually add back a Chaos Emperor or a Bystial Rebellion that you accidentally mill. Bron de Fleur acts as a one-spell face-up Omni Negate. Sorry, I should mention Chaos Ruler can also special summon itself back from the graveyard by banishing both a light and a dark from the grave. Pretty self-explanatory. Bron de Fleur, one-spell face-up Omni Negate, pretty solid. Chaos Angel, when summoned correctly, will allow all of your synchro monsters to be unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects, which is insane. And it also protects all of your monsters from being destroyed by battle, which is not quite as good, but it's definitely still impressive. It also banishes a monster on the field when it's summoned. And an interesting part about it is that whenever you're using a light or dark monster as you control, you can use it as a tuner. So you can use the likes of Seifert as well as a Bystial to go into this guy, treating Seifert as the tuner, which is pretty interesting. Then we got links. We've got Pisty. Pisty will, whenever you have a zone that 2 or more link monsters are pointing to, Pisty can special summon a dragon from your banished pile or graveyard to that zone that they're both pointing to. Part of your main combo. Striker Dragon. Link summon using one level 4 lower dragon monster. On summon, you search Boot Sector Launch. That's pretty much it. It's basically here just as a way, almost exclusively, is just triggering off your Chaos Twins, as well as starting off some crazy link climbs. We got Heretic Seal. Contribute itself basically to bounce a card during your opponent's turn, and when it tributes itself, you special summon a dragon from the deck, but its stat line becomes 0. Excellent for summoning out your Magnomet and getting some extra searches off, which is always great. Romulus on summon searches for Dragon Ravine. Masquerena, quick play link summon during your opponent's turn, only really used alongside Unicorn, and it's not even something that I ever used in the gameplay. Dark here for link climbing. When you can summon a dark monster from your opponent's graveyard to a zone it points to, and when it's destroyed, you grab a dark monster with 1500 or less defense and add it to your hand. Pretty much just for link climbing. Triple Burst Dragon is here exclusively for its arrows. That is literally it. Is a link free with a downward facing arrow. You're basically going to set up Pisty underneath a Romulus to the, obviously, the left hand side. You're going to turn Romulus plus whatever into the Triple Burst, so now Pisty and Triple Burst are pointing at the same zone. It's a link free, which helps you summon out your Boral End Dragon. Yeah, the rest of the things about it, like its attack and effect and all that's all pointless. They're not terrible, but they're pointless. Unicorn on summon, spin a card back in your opponent's deck by discarding one. Drift forward to be summoned off of Masquerena. Access Code Talker, pop a bunch of cards. This card will gain attack points, 1000 attack points multiplied by the link rating of one of its used materials to summon it, and then it can banish a link monster from the graveyard to pop a card your opponent controls, but it can only banish a monster of each attribute once per turn. Pretty simple card. And lastly is our quote-unquote boss monster that we very seldom summon because we can normally win games without even needing it. Can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and cannot be targeted by monster effects, which makes it very difficult to get rid of in a lot of cases. Not impossible, but difficult. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. You can target an effect monster on the field as a quick effect, then target a rocket in grave, negate the effect of the first, and special summon the second. Your opponent cannot activate cards in response to this card's effect activation. So this card's nuts, right? Attack everything, it's a huge boss, 3500, really tough to get rid of, it negates your cards, and it's a permanent negate too, which is insane, as well as a Monster Reborn. This card is absolutely mental. But it's a Link 5. it's a little bit pricey. It takes a lot of resources to bring this guy to the field. So let's be aware of that. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. Again, topping YCSs, showing some of the highest win statistics in Master Duel on the rank ladder. Dragon Link is here, and it is here in a big way. I'm expecting it to drop off a little bit as we get into the full Power Cache Theorem meta, but with Galaxy Eyes coming next month as part of the pack, I'm excited to see if we can't see some sort of Galaxy Eyes Dragon Link hybrid. How cool would that be? But anyways, I'm not going to ramble on any further. You've seen the list, you've seen the gameplay, you've seen everything I have to show you here in this video. So if you're new, subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you haven't, and if you have the means and desire, consider joining the channel as a member. Every little bit of support does definitely help, and I definitely would appreciate it. But that is up to you, and I shall leave you at that. Bye bye.